Hi everyone, it's Nini. Trigger warning for this video. It does contain talk of CSA and SA. Most of the clips are at the end of the video, but I did want to put a warning at the beginning of this video too. If you need to skip it, that is okay.
We all stand united in anti-Duggarness. Ooh. Okay. I talk about cult leaders and they don't like me. And I don't like them. Even my coverage of the Duggars, I don't try to end them.
I'm not going to stop doing the Duggars because the Duggars are my highest viewed content.
The Duggars is an endless pool of scandal. They are a #1 draw for content to my channel. My audience is here for the Duggars. We cheer on Jill. I hate Jill. We just talk about them, really. My Duggar coverage is really focused around the IBLP. I don't want anyone harassed. I don't want the Duggars harassed.
2 hours later.
I'm gonna call them all bitches and show them how to do it while smoking a cigar while in yoga pants and full makeup. This is gonna be hilarious. I think you should do that. Could you please? People hate the Duggars right now. And it doesn't matter if it's Amy or Deanna or Jim Bob. They hate them all. I cover families that have 37,000 children. And today is no different. We have someone who's pregnant. I wonder who it is. When you see these cute kids smiling, just remember they're being smacked with a switch for breathing. Well, she was abused, so she could be a Duggar's old dog. You never know.
Do you care that the women will be abused, treated like sex slaves, given no personal freedom, have no personal agency, and have to ask permission to do anything? Do you care that the women will be raped by their husbands because they cannot say no to sex ever? Do you care that the women are forced to have baby after baby with no rest because they cannot say no to sex or use birth control? Do you care that women are forced to have babies that they can't afford, care for, and that will face neglect? Do you care that the women that deal with postpartum depression will never be allowed to take medications or be treated? She did say that these were her opinions at the end of this post. I think there probably is some truth to not being allowed to take birth control, but she's saying that the Duggar men all rape their wives and all the babies born into this family are neglected. Why does this family not sue her?
The Duggars are are in an abusive cult. The Duggars is a cult. I love cults. I've been going up against this cult for years. We've been dismantling this cult and exposing it for over 2 years. Years, sis. We've been doing this for years.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
There was so many lies and covering up that it just created this monster with Josh where it was like he was in a really dangerous cult that was telling him it wasn't his fault, but he really had parents that were more concerned about being famous than actually dealing with the situation.
It's hard to watch my channel just fall apart. It's been like the biggest thing and the most important thing to me. While I was looking at my stories on Instagram, I noticed that one of the Duggar brothers was looking at my stories. Word on the curb is either Jill had a hysterectomy based on massive amounts of bleeding with both of her children, or Derek is just like, oh hell no, we ain't having more than 2 kids, bitch. Jill Dillard is about to have her 3rd child, a baby boy. She had Josie, who was a micro-preemie. She lost Jubilee, and then she ultimately had to have a hysterectomy because her body just could not handle any more pregnancies. I've always gotten the sense that she doesn't even like engage with her children that frequently. She has the baby and then she just gives it to the other kids. I would tell her that you are holding your daughters back by telling them that their sole purpose in life is to be an incubator for babies and that they need to be joyfully available for their wives. I would tell Michelle Duggar that by telling her children that they need to be joyfully available, she's promoting marital RAPE, and I'm not down with that. Are you like hearing what I'm hearing? Like, Michelle may not have posted to her dad or to her husband, to her dad. I mean, do you think she calls him daddy? She's like, daddy. Do you think she's like, daddy, I need a 20th child? Okay.
I talked about this video in a previous video, but I wanted to talk about it again. This was one of the things that made me unsubscribe from Katie. I discovered her when she covered the Micah Stauffer situation in May of 2020. Sometimes when I find a new YouTuber, I will go back and watch their previous videos. So I was watching some previous ones, came across this one that she had posted in February of 2020, talking about how Michelle Duggar had been caught on camera yelling at her daughter, and Michelle was not yelling at her at all. She makes it seem like Michelle was yelling at the child and the child was afraid of her, like she was gonna be hit. And I remember just thinking, this is completely insane. A lot of the people in the comments also were not having it. But in my opinion, this is the basis of Katie's coverage of the Duggars. She tries to make them worse than they are.
Derek actually caught his mother-in-law on Instagram Live by accident. She is in the video sort of scolding her daughter Jennifer.
Hey Mama, this is our Instagram followers who were just making a video saying hey.
And she's like, and then Jennifer's like moving away from her mother. I think that was the part that got people very concerned, because we know that Michelle has written about using a flexible ruler to correct her children. You'll see a stark difference between what she says she does and like what she actually does. I don't think people would have to point this out if she wasn't contradicting herself.
The hypocrisy in Katie pointing out the hypocrisy of somebody else. It's too much.
And then as as he walks away, you can still hear her yelling at Jennifer. Her daughter is moving away from her, which is indicative of a child that might be expecting something. And I'm not grasping at straws, Jennifer. This was actually all over the media. So that's the video. I don't know what you guys think. Renegade, renegade, renegade. Renegade Shelly actually needs a TikTok. Renegade! Joyfully available! Low mode.
It's Michelle Duggar, and I am joyfully available. A lot of people ask me, how do you keep track of your kids? And I tell them, I use this book. This book has all the notes on all of my children. For instance, Josie likes lima beans, and Jackson likes frogs. And Jill likes a naughty boy named Derek, and we don't like Derek, so we kicked him out of the family.
I said, why is he being a turd monkey? Because I was just trying to be silly.
Oh, look at that. That's the face of domestic violence. Austin is a turd face.
And I realized that it came off like I was being rude to him. I was just trying to be goofy when I said that.
That's the face of domestic violence.
You know, when you're at school and like you're getting ignored by the kid at school and it's like, oh, why are you being a turd monkey? You know, like, why are you just being a brat? You know, that kind of thing.
That's the face of domestic violence. I couldn't even believe what was coming out of her mouth and like how casual she was about it. Jeremy, being the dingleberry that he is probably not going to give a crap and actually help her and instead just make her feel guilty. Joe, give your wife a little bit of a break. She needs it. Jeremy is entitled to everything that he wants from her. He's entitled to be, you know, a clean house. He's entitled to having food on the table. He's entitled to the kids being taken care of well. He's entitled to having it, getting freaky with her as many times a day as he wants to. Jeremy and Ginger have been trying very hard to put out a lot of content, and Jeremy has been relying on Ginger heavily to make videos, promote a book, and utilizing her over 1 million people on her Instagram to make money. My family depends on my channel. You know, people say you're neglecting your son. Well, literally, this job is affording our house and it's affording our life. Apparently, Ben, who's not raking in the dough, is telling people that Jessa's 2.2 million followers on Instagram are paying their bills. So it seems Ben has found the best of both worlds, where he can work as a pastor making zero to no money and rely on his famous wife to pay the bills. I thought about how awkward sometimes Ginger appears on camera. Okay, now that we're done with that, has his wife working for him while he chases a dream. Jessa is funding Ben's dream of being a pastor, and Jessa's left to use the fame that her parents have given her to, like, foot their bills. If Jessa's finally making money on her social media, I say go, Jessa. His wife is forced to work for him and reversing the roles. My husband worked for 20 years. This is a switch in our marriage. I'm now the worker. Do you sometimes wonder if Jeremy saw Ginger as an opportunity instead of a wife?
This woman right here, she is the goose that laid the golden egg.
Is Jeremy Volo exploiting his wife the exact same way that her parents exploited her as a child? Is that the case? Because Jeremy Volo makes no money. This is our only source of income right now. Yes, that's true. It makes me sad that Ginger doesn't necessarily want to be in this world, but has to because her husband doesn't have a job. Do you ever think that Jessa Duggar, now Seewald, is ever at home and is like, Ben, we've been married for 6 years. Ben, we live in a house that has 2 bedrooms, we have 3 kids, and my parents own me. Hey, Ben, could you get a job? And then Ben was all like, nah, I don't know. I got things to do. Jessa and Ben the freeloader. Ben is going to continue being a freeloader. Jessa somehow just doesn't properly edit? Or do you think she just doesn't pay attention when she's editing? Who's telling you guys to edit like this? Their editing is terrible. Welcome back to my channel. Who doesn't like May 19th? I hope you're having a wonderful day together. Any documents? So basically over the weekend and Zach, and it's perfect for, it's a perfect size for on the, David will be playing host to, David will be hosting The Sun Broke to date. You have not spoken to my engaged with anyone. Also that she had come down with. So if I did not reveal, I withheld any negative. The friend that the subscriber that found Anna or saw her at the event at Silver Dollar City said that Anna was happy. And she also noted that her girls, all of Anna's girls, were also wearing pants. The follower said that, hi, Dwayne. How's Lauren? Are Josiah and Lauren getting divorced? Josiah literally admitted to going inside of Lauren's phone to find out what she likes on Pinterest. Creepy. For his wife to constantly be posting about how life has been super hard in the past year, and it's literally their first year of marriage, is not a good sign. Get it together, Josiah, or come out of the closet.
Justin was arranged into a loveless courtship where he cheated on Claire and married her right after he turned 18 to curb his lust. And then, of course, Katie has to mention, in my opinion, her favorite person in the world, Josh Duggar, and then says Justin and Claire remain childless. Probably not a coincidence, allegedly.
Josiah is gay. He's gay. Like, it's not a secret. Like, everyone in that world knows he's gay. He was sent away to gay camp multiple times.
No, I don't think Jana's gay, and I think people need to stop speculating.
Jana is probably a lesbian, but has to live in sadness because they hate the gay people. They're either forcing their children like Josiah to not be gay and be in a marriage, or they're making Jana just stay single because being gay is like the worst thing to death.
Every single time you guys speculate that she's gay,
It was Jana and her date, Laura. No, I'm just kidding.
it completely undermines the amount of abuse, coercion, and manipulation she faces on a daily basis with her dad.
I don't think there's a relationship between those two. This like romantic idea that they have this secret relationship is kind of ludicrous. They would never, ever, ever acknowledge it. They would only just be friends. Jana is still single and living at home. Imagine being 29 years old and like your sole job is like helping your mom raise her kids. They have said the following about Jana. She's rarely around the house. She does her own thing. She's not at home constantly with the kids. Jana is still babysitting for everyone. Poor Jana. It's not Jana that helps with the kids. It's kind of split on why Jana has not dated, but I think She doesn't want to settle. Then she also probably didn't want to have a lot of kids. If you remember, she kind of was raising her siblings. She does not do their homeschooling. She's not their tutor. She doesn't manage the younger kids' schedules. They're getting married soon, which is what we expected. That's what happens in this world. They want to have the sexy time, so they got to get married fast. They want to get it on and have baby making time. Why are you having more kids? You know what I mean? They're breeders. It's what they do. What do you think the banner was for last year? Like, what possibly were they dealing with last year? Like, I don't know, slip on a rock? Like, what was going on with Justin last year?
Whoever said, why do you obsess over the Duggars? I'm not obsessing. I'm not obsessing.
I don't even think they do the pull-out method, if you know what I'm saying. Wah, wah, wah.
Everyone's like, what boy would you date? And I'm like, literally none. There's not a single one. None. Zero. Sometimes I have dreams about the Duggars and I'm like dating one of them and I wake up feeling really nauseous because it's like I'm a super liberal.
I want to be the old grandma that like sexually harasses the young boys that walk by. I don't even care. Jason is wearing quite a tight suit. I noticed what Jeremiah did with his tongue.
Pictures of the wedding, and
I was like, Jeremiah, could you just act like an adult right now? Please, for 5 minutes. I know you're only 23 or 24, but like, please just act like an adult. I thought the tongue was just really immature. I think that's why I said it was gross. It wasn't how close they were and how touchy they were that really sort of made me feel weirded out. It was just that when she said the marriage, and as soon as she said that, he did the thing with his tongue. Why are you guys focusing on the stupid shit like that? Like, we're talking about a cult. Why do you care about stupid shit about his hair? Jim Bob has a full head of hair and all of his boys are balding. How is that relevant to abuse that's happening? The poor guys are definitely balding. The mothers carry the balding gene. That is true. 100% true. This is going to make me want to research to find out what the name actually means. It says it means an organized and loving individual. So I don't think that's a warrior for Christ. Wikipedia says that it means warrior for Christ. I don't know that that's true though. According to babynames.com, Oliver is a name of English origin and it means the descendants of the ancestors. Oliver doesn't mean peace. Oh, poor Jed, he got it wrong. He got it wrong.
Look at that joyful smile she gets when she thinks one of the Duggars has done something wrong. In my opinion, she seems to get excited anytime anybody does something wrong or has a setback or is struggling. But when it's one of the Duggars, it's almost like she rejoices in it. That is so disturbing.
I don't know what name means peace, but I've never heard of Oliver meaning peace. Poor Jed and his home ATI education.
Jim Bob Duggar.
He never paid his kids. He has all of his kids' money. Now that the show is gone, I'm assuming that they don't have the same kind of opportunities for endorsements. She used to promote stuff all the time on her Instagram, and that's all but washed up. She really doesn't promote anything anymore. I think it's going to be really hard.
That's what she said.
For a lot of the Duggars to get ads at this point. Now, they will probably blame it on anything but Josh. You know, they might blame it on something other than Josh.
I don't ever speak ill about the kids. Period.
Blink twice if you need help, Spurgeon. I mean, look at those eyes.
He looks like a zombie.
I'll show you what the audience looked like.
When Jed and Katie got married, Katie Joy live streamed their wedding. When she shares her screen, you can see that she disliked the video. And I know they say dislikes don't necessarily hurt a creator because it still shows up as YouTube engagement. But to me, this was just a piece of shit move. As Katie has said herself, her Duggar coverage is the most popular on her channel, so it brings her the most money. She's able to pay her mortgage, bills, food, with money based off of talking about this family, and she can't even support them by giving them a like. I don't even dislike Katie's videos. I don't like them, I don't dislike them. That's just so petty in my opinion.
I'm a petty bitch like that.
They both got married in the very beginning of November, which is kind of a weird time to get married. Generally speaking, fall weddings are not the most coveted. Generally, it's a spring or summer. And November, you're getting into the colder time of the year. It's not a high peak time for weddings. Jessa's was days before the midterm elections in 2014. Ginger's wedding was day before the 2016 election. Ginger's wedding was used as a tool to get as many people to Arkansas as possible that were connected to the Duggars to basically mobilize the vote for Trump.
I don't love Michelle Duggar's beliefs, but she's a beautiful woman. Her daughters are gorgeous. Personally, I think Jana Duggar is the prettiest of all the girls. I think Jessa's really pretty too.
Hi, everyone. No. Okay. Don't want. Okay, but do that. I can't. What do you do? Don't want. I don't want to be on there.
Ginger and Jeremy aren't posting any photos of the kids. People are obviously jumping to the natural conclusion that there must be something terribly wrong with Evie Jo, otherwise they would be showing photos of her. The last time Jeremy shared a photo of Evie, it was back in December. You couldn't see Evie's face. In the photos that Ginger has shared, she again is not showing Evie's face. Evie at this point in time is now around 2.5 months old, almost 3 months old. She's probably got a lot bigger. But we have not seen her face since her birth. Whether something's going on with Evie, whether something's going on with Ginger, or whether their marriage is still struggling, I don't know. Joy has photos of Gideon and videos of Gideon with his diaper hanging off his ass, with literally his ass on Instagram.
Tractor?
Yeah.
Can you go find a tractor for me?
Well, I don't know where it is. Okay.
No, for this. Then this here.
Okay.
No.
You need to respect your child's autonomy. Fern, for her birthday, gets a picture posted of her with her grandpa. They share the same birthday. Nothing special about Fern being a great little baby girl and how much Jessa loves her. She just literally posted a photograph of her with her dad. Come on, where's the smash cake pictures? Where's the big cute photographs of her putting her hand in the cake and all of the like full excitement that goes along with the first birthday. No, Daddy Duggar has to be a part of the photograph. Poor Fern didn't get her own. I hope Fern gets her own video at least. Literally every photo she has posted on her Instagram of Bella has been removed. Some of them just don't really have boundaries, like they just share everything because they grew up sharing everything. They just don't really have a filter. I breastfed my son until he was almost 4. Jessa has no problem just talking about anything. My son has verifiably things in his body that are missing. His pituitary gland. He has had to have open heart surgery, high pressure in his brain. Same with Joy. Like there's not even a thought. My son has a low IQ. Oversharing toileting.
Probably TMI, but he actually had a poop that looked like normal poop.
Bathroom habits and that kind of stuff.
Having the legume as a primary source of protein is not good for him because he gets really gassy. The sphincter muscles don't open, so then he can't burp.
It's the hypocrisy for me. It's the utter hypocrisy for me.
Jana has not posted since Mother's Day. She has not posted since July 9th. Bunk Bed Jed hasn't posted anything since Mother's Day either. She was the only kid of the entire family that made a public post to her dad on his birthday. Now, I know you guys will say, doesn't matter, who cares? I'm just pointing out the obvious that nobody else wished him a happy birthday on social media.
I definitely don't go to the Duggars' house and take pictures of their minor children.
True, but KJ sure does love sharing pics of Duggar kids. I realize she shares pics and vids that the parents have put on social media, but it's one thing when the parent posts them, and it's another when a random woman of no relation to the child posts them for money.
She basically documented her journey as a mother. There was her birth announcement. Every Monday night, the Duggars get together and invite all of their friends for Josh's birthday. She would go out of her way. Seemed to be doing pretty well. M1 is in Fort Worth. If she doesn't obey God, she's like being against God. They all got together and went to the corn maze. Joseph and Kendra's firstborn turned 3. The kid is super cute, but he has like that 3-year-old look. He made a public statement, basically said that he landed so much of the money that has gone to lawyers, they can't afford to get Jenny a decent cake. I don't like to shame anyone. Babies are so fragile. Like the last thing we need to be doing is exposing them to more stuff. But you know, it's Joy, so they don't care. Listen, I'm not here to parent shame her. Joy's parenting these days has had me all kinds of things.
He is like in this like anti-mommy phase, so he always tells me to go away. Why do we shame moms?
There's been some questions about, you know, her car seat safety and her co-sleeping with Evie.
I wake up with him. He sleeps with me at night.
It's not known whether or not this had ammunition in it, if it had a safety on it, but it was literally just sitting out on the table as though they were about to go hunting, except they weren't. So why this was actually out on the kitchen table had people really upset. It seems like Joy is at times in over her head with her children and at times doesn't have the best understanding of child safety.
I had only one kid because I was like, I can't handle having more than one.
If I were to look at this as a mom, I would be terrified because 1, he doesn't have a helmet on and he does not look like he's properly secured at all. We don't have to assume that she has postpartum. I'm starting to wonder if she has PPD. I think something's going on here, whether it's with her marriage or with her health. The fact that Jeremy is consistently posting photos about how pretty she is. Get this gut feeling that this is about PPD. And I don't know that Jeremy would even care to take her to the doctor. The way that she's holding the baby, she seems like sort of detached from the baby. Oh my God, girl frog. And I think, oh my God, hold on. Sorry. I just want to thank her for like allowing other creators to use this because I don't know if she's going to keep this up on her channel. And I definitely want, it almost seems as though in a way that she's not bonded to the baby. If there was a fire and you could save one possession, what would it save? I would save my animals. From the way that she's holding the baby, kind of like disconnected to the baby.
I wanted to be child-free, to be honest. Mommy, you should come up. Yes.
I can't. Mom, I can't. Good night.
Mommy.
All right. So,
Mommy.
what?
I'm trying to.
Ginger is struggling. I think that Jeremy and Ginger don't believe that Ginger needs help. She was showing signs of anxiety. Mom, why do you always interrupt me? Stop posting photos of the kids, is not engaging as much on her Instagram. And now when she's posting an update to everyone, you can't see the baby's face.
In my opinion, it seems like Katie Joy has this history of being jealous of women who are pretty, smart, in happy marriages. She just seems to nitpick on them the most. I think she does this because she's jealous. And in my opinion, the woman she is most jealous of is Jessa Seewald. Katie will nitpick everything about her life. She wants to make it seem like they're in a very unhappy marriage and the kids have this very unhappy home life. But in my opinion, Jessa probably spends more time with all 4 of her children than Katie does with her 1 child. Katie went real life on Jessa. She doesn't just talk about her. She took away one of Jessa's sponsorships. I do have a video dedicated entirely to that, so I'm not going to cover that too much here. It was my very first video I ever made on Katie Joy because it just bugged me so much that she did this to Jessa. I will leave a link to that video below. This is going to be a long section, but here are some other things that Katie has said about Jessa Seewald.
Jessa, who has by far been the favorite, the most popular, many always say the most beautiful. Jessa seems to be judgy, and I've just coined the term on Instagram as a joke, judgy Jessa. I think Jessa's numbers are very superficial. It's because she's pretty. She was always labeled as the prettiest of the girls, and I think that carried over to her social media following. Jessa is the most straight, the most serious, stoic, no emotions. She's constantly, I get the sense, trying to one-up people. They were pushing her as kind of like the pretty one, the prettier one. Okay. Pretty but dull. She's got a very flat affect. Jessa has 2.2 million people following her on her Instagram.
To quote my favorite cat other than Walter, Bobby, "Does it hurt, Catherine?"
So based on numbers alone, Jessa should be making the most money.
In this post, Katie Joy said Jessa Seewald didn't edit out Spurgeon referring to African-American football players as black ones. Ben does not correct his son and instead says, "Don't run into them." The Duggars are often criticized for being racist. I don't know if she's upset because he referred to them as black ones or if it's because he's calling them black and not African-American, because Katie Joy has always used the politically correct term of African-American.
And he's a black man. Yeah, he's Hispanic and black. I'm upset about my nephew and my nieces who are black. She has 4 kids and they only have 2 bedrooms. I was actually just checking a website about whether or not it was legal in the state of Arkansas for a number, like up to 4 kids to live in a room together. The state of Arkansas allows up to 4 children per room.
If Arkansas law would have said 2 or 3 children were allowed per room, do you think Katie would have turned Jessa in?
People are pretty upset because they feel like Jessa is being irresponsible because she has this tiny house and she's gonna have 4 kids in 1 bedroom. At some point, the kids are gonna all grow up.
Generally, after the age of 5, there is a suggestion and recommendation by child advocates to separate boys and girls into separate bedrooms, as well as the idea that really it's not safe to have 4 kids in 1 bedroom.
It's really not a good idea, in my opinion, to have all of her kids in 1 room. Ivy doesn't have a bed. There's not a crib set up for her. There's not a bassinet set up for her, which freaks me out, because that might mean she sleeps with her, which is a humongous no-no according to the American Academy of Pediatrics.
I wake up with him. He sleeps with me at night.
Typically, you would have a spot for your daughter to sleep safely.
If her son sleeps with her at night and she has kitty litter in her bedroom, that means her medically fragile son is sleeping with kitty litter every night, breathing that in. Is that safe?
Why by yourself?
Do I think Jessa should have more kids in the house that is this small? No.
Why do we shame moms?
Jessa's kids never wear shoes and they're never properly dressed. That's another thing that really bothers me. Jessa and Ben were wearing hats and they were dressed appropriately. The kids had winter coats on, but they did not have hats or mittens. Henry started having kind of like a meltdown about how cold he was. The entire time this is happening, she just keeps on filming. He had sticky fingers and didn't want to get stickiness in his pockets. I told him we could wash the coat when we got home, but he couldn't handle the thought of sticky pockets. My only suggestion to Jessa there is that maybe bring some wipes.
Wet ones are cheap. You can bring them with you when you take your kids out. When a child eats, then you can wipe and disinfect at the same time. Henry could have used these the other night. You can find these at your favorite store, Walmart.
This is where I think this is like kind of like, ugh. Reddit is psychoanalyzing your YouTube video. They really like to reach over there. And Jessa said, yes, sad life, they must leave. Haters gonna hate, but I don't pay any attention to all that mess. Life goes on, and we're seeking to live it to the fullest. Your like response right now is life goes on. The only thing I could think about is the poor little kids that were literally in the videos that were on Josh's computer, specifically the DD videos that were made by Peter Scully that included horrific things that were happening to children. One of the children in that video is no longer alive. And so for some of the kids involved, life didn't go on.
Sometimes I think Jessa or any of the Duggars could say something like, wow, it's a nice sunny day out. And Katie would either link that to Josh or use it as an opportunity to talk about CSA.
My advice to Jessa: mittens, you can get them at Walmart. Hats, you can get them at Walmart. Life does not go on for the kids that were involved in this. Try to find some compassion for those around you. Brings up my parenting, talks about my son, like nitpicks my entire life. She was supervising him and he was handling the object fine. She guided Henry and helped him cut it, which made people like, oh my gosh, Henry's only 3 years old. Well, I wanted to find out what would be recommended by experts. In that article, Azima said that so this cook suggests that you wait a little bit longer. Ben goes off and gets LASIK, and Jessa brings the 3 kids with them because that's totally what you would do, is bring 3 kids to a doctor's office when you could just get a babysitter. But
some people actually like to bring their children with them when they leave the house.
We had some people upset when I was looking through some of the comments, although she was deleting comments really, really fast. Instead of putting Ivy back in her car seat, she places Ivy on her lap, and Ben then decides to drive over to the Duggars' house.
I see the moo cow!
You see the moo cow? All right, well, we will think about it. It's Monday night, it's family night.
It's not a very far drive from the pond of where they were to where they were going, but they did have to cross over and drive on a county road. Anytime you're on a public road, there's a risk if you're not properly secured in your car, and there's certainly a legal requirement by parents to make sure that even if it's a short trip, that your kids are properly secured in their car seats. Ivy is forward facing, which obviously got some people upset. The American Academy of Pediatrics basically just says, unless the child is 2, make sure that they're facing the rear. Jessa does make mention later on in the video that it was like 66 degrees outside, and that she was going to leave the windows cracked just a tiny bit, and that she was going to allow Miss Ivy to stay in the car by herself while they went fishing. Really shouldn't be leaving your children unattended in a car. It's not advised by the CDC. It's not advised really by any American Academy of Pediatrics. Leaving pets and children in cars unattended, even if it's a car, your car, especially if you have and keep rising to the cars closed. So CourtneyWeather.com, they basically say you shouldn't leave your kids in the car with the back window, because even the back window, it doesn't reduce the inside temperature or inside design in the. So Ivy is in a situation where she's in a non-moving car in direct sunlight and only has a cracked window. It's just another example that kids raising kids, because the Duggars certainly did not have the ability to raise their children, just led to raising children that became parents that didn't know how to raise children.
I don't like to shame anyone.
Jessa's the judgmental one. Jessa and Ben. Ben is like the dolt. Let's just say Ben doesn't have like the biggest brains, and Jessa's like she's like Michelle 2.0. But what was Jessa doing? She does have a little cute baby named Ivy. But it's a girl, so she's not gonna have any rights, and that makes me sad. She's putting her toddler to work. She was like letting him vacuum for 10 minutes, and I know you guys are gonna probably yell at me for, oh, it's cute. No! In the Duggar house, all they do is work. They don't have childhoods. Like, having fun is not allowed. But it just made me think about, now that he knows how to do it, she's probably going to make him do it all the time now. He's too little to be using this vacuum. And it wasn't just like he was just vacuuming for a few minutes. She let him vacuum for 10 minutes. And he could barely like maneuver the thing. And then she was like praising him because he wants to clean and do all these things, and that's going to make a godly man. Normal moms are not like so excited that their kids are vacuuming and learning how to do chores. I mean, maybe a little bit, but come on, these kids don't get to play. Like, the mark of a good wife in this world is like raising children that obey them, that don't talk back, that sit on their blankets so they don't have to like smack them. There's been some rumors that Jessa has a new home. That's not true. Jessa does not have a new house.
Here's the house. Living space.
She has not purchased a new home. There are no property records. I saw that there was a video going on, but it's definitely not verified. As soon as I saw the video went up, I asked around if that was true, and no one would confirm it. They are still not done on this remodel of that house. They've literally been renovating this since last summer. It's one of the longest renovations I've ever seen happen. It shouldn't take this long to renovate a house.
The pandemic slowed everything down. It took me 1 month to get a microwave. I can just imagine how long it took to get some of the supplies that they needed. But you know, Katie, gotta pick on them about everything.
Her post on Instagram says this. Jessa said, I had a wonderful time yesterday celebrating these birthday buddies. Love them both dearly. What a blah thing to say. But whatever. It's Jessa. Jessa bless her. What a blanket statement. What a simple one sentence thing. If you go out of your way to ruin someone's life because you don't like them, that says more about you than it says about the person that you're mad at. Jessa, for her part, would do best by finding companies that align with her goals, that finding products that align with her values. They get to the beach, this really weird thing happens. I'm not sure if Jessa even enjoyed herself because she was literally filming the entire time. Ben wears a turtleneck at the beach because necks are apparently immodest. Even though he wears a t-shirt, otherwise he had to wear a turtleneck at the beach.
I'm just so stupid.
While at the beach, the kids were playing with a garden spade. Normal kids, when you go to the beach, mom and dad will bring like a plastic bucket and a plastic shovel. But if you're a Seewald / Duggar, your mom will give you a garden spade. Now, this was a garden spade that Henry got for his birthday. Yes, that's right. A preschooler got a garden spade for his birthday. Let that sink in for you. Henry falls down and Jessa can't even be bothered to like give him a hug.
Uh-oh. It's okay, Henry. It's just cold. It won't hurt you though. It'll dry off super fast. Oh, Henry, did you not want to get wet?
I don't want to get wet.
It's okay. The sun will dry you off in just a minute. Spurgeon fell in 2. Did you know that? He fell in 2 times, but he's already dry because the sun's so warm out here. It will dry you up just like that.
Part of me wonders if Jessa has any maternal instinct. I don't think anyone can question that Jessa's not a good mom. I think she is very devoted to them, and I think she loves them very much. If she comforts her kids, even when Henry's crying, she can't even be bothered to like console him. And so, sorry. Dog emergency again.
Look at how infuriated she is at the start of this clip. She's glaring at the doorway where her son is. From my understanding, her son is screaming because he's terrified of one of the dogs. Instead of comforting her son, she shuts the door and goes back to talking to strangers online.
The entire time that they're at the beach, Jessa doesn't seem to even play with the kids. Jessa literally is hardly interacting with the kids and is more focused on filming everything.
Katie Joy did not see every single minute of their vacation. You can't take a 10 or 20-minute video of a vacation and think that that is the entire vacation.
Then they go get ice cream. And she will not let the kids get chocolate ice cream because Spurgeon will spill. They literally just got up for the day, and then mom's like, I hid the remote because TV is Satan. Okay, she didn't really say that. Instead of watching TV, Ben decides that he's going to give a Bible lesson.
God made the beach. Did you know that?
How?
Well, let's read about it in the book of Job.
Spurgeon can literally not handle the fact that he is so bored and like literally cannot handle the fact that his dad is lying to him. When you're a Duggar, there's no room for fun. When you want to watch the TV, your dad will probably make you learn about the Bible, completely negate science. You'll be forced to go to the ocean, not get a towel, not get dried off. And then when you're done playing and you're completely filthy from the sand, your mom will be worried of you spilling ice cream after you've had sand and dirt all over you. You have to eat vanilla ice cream because God made the tide stop the water and you don't want to get dirty. It looks like they did have fun. If you qualify your fun as falling in the ocean, your mom not drying you off, giving you a hug and making you play with a garden spade.
When's the last time Katie took her son to the beach? Granted, Minnesota is nowhere near an ocean beach, but it's the land of 10,000 lakes. You can easily find a beach on a lake.
So, what are your thoughts about all of this? She changed her plea from not guilty to guilty on December 15th, only a couple days after Jessa basically threw her under the bus. Jessa put up an Instagram story and she basically said the child had slipped out the back door when Janet turned her back for 1 second, and that with the grace of God, everything was fine and it was just a big misunderstanding and she would totally let Jana babysit her kids. Of course she would. Jessa, it's free babysitting.
Picking someone apart, ridiculing them, making them feel bad to make yourself feel better. Does it make you feel better to dehumanize someone to the point that every aspect of their lives is wrong? I strive on my channel to always humanize the people that I talk to and talk about. Happy and healthy people don't go out of their way to tear down and hurt other people.
Jessa is so frugal. If you follow Jessa, you know that she goes to consignment shops and shops at thrift stores for her kids, buys used shoes for her kids, buys used clothing for her kids.
Why does she say that like it's a horrible thing to shop at thrift stores? Some people cannot afford to buy brand new shoes and clothes, and they should not be shamed for that.
She almost seems like she doesn't even want to deal with it, or she doesn't want to acknowledge it, this idea of, you know, it wasn't that big of a deal. Jessa is on the Duggars payroll. Ben actually works for Michelle, so their entire financial life depend on the Duggars. Jessa's YouTube channel makes money, you guys, and so does her Instagram. So they're not going to break ranks with their parents. They're not going to say justice should be served. They are going to say whatever, because Jessa and Ben are so dependent on money from Jim Bob and Michelle.
Jessa's YouTube channel makes money, you guys.
Jessa becomes like a hostage to whatever narrative it is that her parents want because of that financial attachment. I wish there was a way that that Jessa and Ben would like detach and like find employment outside of the family.
You mean like with a sponsorship that has nothing to do with her parents? Oh wait, you'd probably ruin that for her.
They put out clickbait. They tease things that aren't true.
Jessa and her husband, Ben, her robot Ben, and Ben are like the couple on the show that I feel like are so unhappy, but they have to like pretend they're happy.
I want to read this comment out loud. To me, it is spot on. This old lady, Joy, seriously has nothing better to do than to speculate on how others live because she has no life of her own. She only loves to gossip about others. She will never know what it's like to be married or what it takes to make a marriage work because nobody will dare consider pursuing her. They might not know that she is married to Todd. She falsely claims to be a Christian. So much for voicing an opinion on her social media. If you even hint at disagreeing with her, she erases your comments and blocks you. She's truly pathetic.
If your only objective in life is to like literally critical of every move they make, that's a problem.
I absolutely love Jill Duggar.
I hate Jill. I hate her so much.
And I love Amy.
Amy actually blocked me. I don't want to speak ill of her. She owes like $28,000 to the state of Arkansas. Her business is falling apart. You don't want to be a part of the conversation, Amy. Keep your mouth shut. She has not paid taxes since 2018 for her company 3132. They owe so much money. They have a loan out against a business that they acquired from her grandmother's death. They can't repay.
Maybe it's just me, but 3,700 square feet is a big house. In my opinion, it makes Katie feel better about herself to put Amy down. And also the fact that she has to stress that it's a rental. I think she had to do that because she thinks renting is inferior. That's such an immature thing to do. I've seen other people do that too. Oh, you just rent. You don't own your house. Like, that's such a bad thing. I mean, come on. I've actually considered going back to renting. You don't have to mow. You don't have to shovel snow. If something breaks, you just call the landlord. You don't have to worry about paying for it. But Katie judges everybody else's life. Last part of this video contains talk about child SA. If that's too much to handle, that's totally understandable.
One of the big problems with this cult is that sexual assault of like siblings and sexual abuse is super common in families. A lot of the friends that are around the Duggars are also sexual abusers, and a lot of their like sons' friends and people in the cult are sexual abusers. Incest is a huge problem in this group as well.
They all beat the fuck out of their kids. And so many of them are raping their children. They're raping their friends' kids.
There is like journalistic ethics. One of them is to follow UNICEF's rules when it comes to discussing child victims of SA. One of those things is to not identify them. Most of us know who these Jane Does are, and that Jane Doe was in any way, shape, or form.
Child that was digitally raped will probably be called if this goes to trial. I would rather not identify who that is because that child was a minor.
Was underage when it was released. They're claiming that they were violated.
Victims' identities should be kept protected.
Was really little. She's going to have memories of it, but her memories are not going to be like who are older.
Victims should not be outed.
Was like between the ages of 9 and 12 when it happened, so memories are going to be very different than who was between the ages of like 4 to 6. Josh and Kaylee are betrothed. Right before he gets with Kaylee, he does something to.
I just don't want to identify people.
Kaylee becomes close with who then confide into Kaylee about what Josh has done to them.
If you attach victimhood to a child and you're wrong, then you've made them a victim when they're not.
12 seconds later.
Has never been publicly identified as a victim. Have never been publicly identified as victims. Has never been identified as a victim. I choose not to speculate.
I did some education with UNICEF. They don't recommend ever speculating on whether or not a child's a victim.
Is the fifth person? No. Was the fifth person? No.
It would be really irresponsible to speculate on those kinds of things.
Was around all of the time. There was a lot of pictures floating around of and then after the raid happened, suddenly Anna scrubbed all the photos and evidence that was ever around.
I'll never publicly say it's why I don't talk about any of the kids around them. I just don't.
Was around Josh and around the family a lot. The fifth victim has never been identified.
Was not the fifth victim.
They don't want to be identified, so I don't even try to speculate who the fifth person was. After the raid happened, he was gone from all of the pictures. So then people started wondering if there was something that was happening to speculating about the minors in this case does not help anyone. The wide speculation is something happened to and I don't think it's really fair to assume.
She has published this and outed me as the victim. I was protected by the law and she violated that.
It seems like hypocritical. My Duggars are get a life and get a job. This is my job. Thank you for your comment. I really appreciate that.
Some of the Duggars have blocked me. Jason blocked me. Justin blocked me. Claire blocked me. The Duggars blocked me. Hillary Spivey blocked me.
Fuck off, Lizzie. I hope you fuck off, Lizzie.